cats, because when I wrote that, of course, I didn't plan on a sequel. I didn't even plan on it being a novel. So I just threw in there that these two men were both vets, Vietnam vets. And so down the line, I thought, someday I'm going to have to go back and explain what this is all about. And so in the first book, Dr. Caleb is still feeling some guilt because he was a conscientious objector who refused to carry a gun in Vietnam, but at one point he had lost his temper, picked up a gun, and shot somebody who was threatening his fellow soldiers. And so he's still feeling guilt about this 15, 20 years later. And Thinis, on the other hand, had been an MP in Saigon and had never had to shoot anyone and had never shot anyone on the job, which made it sort of ironic. But I thought that their experiences, as these characters develop through the series, I eventually thought I really needed to go back and explain how these two people came to be what they were. And in both instances, it sort of grew out of the experiences that they'd had, the various different experiences that they had in Vietnam. And
you have
so,
kind of ecumenical interest in all sorts of things, odd and arcane and normal, don't you?
I have a friend who says I only do research. I only write books to justify all the research that I do. She's probably
And you
right.
write them so well.
Yes, you do. Boy, you do.
Oh.
Well, I really do want to talk more about some of these books. But you know, as usual, time is running on. So we're going to continue our discussion about research and get into a little bit more detail about that.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much for being here, Michael.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Here are some of the book titles that Michael has written that you can buy at fine bookstores anywhere in the country. We'll be back in a few minutes. Here we are back, and we're going to try to do something a little bit different this time and talk a little bit about some specific favorite sources for information, try to get some idea of what, if you're a beginning writer, where should I go for more information?
Well, it depends on what you're looking for. But I'm putting this together for beginning writers, and I'm going to cover a number of different things, and then you can all weigh in with your thoughts. But first of all, I think the Loft Literary Center for writers of all stripes, literary fiction writers, memoirists, journalists,
that is to say,
screenwriters.
Not journalism so much, but
right.
journal writing.
Journal writing.
For those who may not be familiar, do you want to explain the Loft?
The Loft Literary Center is the largest independent, not affiliated with a college or university, writing center in the nation.
And it's located?
And it's located in downtown Minneapolis on Washington Avenue.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
What else do they do?
Well,
besides teach these courses and
they
workshops?
have workshops. They have weekend workshops. They have they will bring in a lot of writers for a specific topic, say children's writing. I'm hoping that we will approach them and try and encourage them to do something on a larger weekend event on mystery writing, and. They all kinds of things, and then they have a space for an auditorium. They have a lot of readings. They're just very involved in the writing community.
And they have a new director who we had on not too long
That's
ago,
right.
didn't they?
That's right.
Okay. All right.
So number one, I think the Loft would be a good choice. Just in terms of books, and I'm going to limit this to mysteries. Or say genre fiction. Okay. I'm gonna give you what I think are the best books for beginning writers. There are lots of books out there on writing mysteries. The one that I think is the best is called On Writing by Stephen King. Even if you don't like Stephen King's writing, the book that he wrote on writing is so incredibly to the point and workmanlike, and it's just a great
It's
resource.
such a nuts and bolts
It is.
primer.
It really is.
And how to begin a project,
Yep.
see it through to the end.
Absolutely. I also think writing the breakout novel by Donald Moss is something that
I haven't read that one, but I understand it has a
it's
lot
good,
of really
and there's a
good specific
workbook that goes
information.
with it, and I think they're both good. And I use when I teach at the law. I use some of the things from the workbook. Also, I think this is just a terrific resource. It's called the Writer's Chapbook, and it's edited by the Paris Review from interviews that they've done of famous writers. And it's everything is divided into sections on writing, on characterization, on the writer's life, on humor, on sex scenes, on everything. They're just rich, wonderful, intriguing comments. If you're interested in writing, I think that's a must-have book. Then Lawrence Block has written a couple, Spider Spin Me a Web and Telling Lies for Fun and Profit. Anything that he has written about writing, I think, is worth looking at. Specific to the mystery, How to Write Killer Fiction, Mystery and Suspense by Carolyn Wheat. Carolyn Wheat is a wonderful writer
That's right.
in her own right. And just, I'm all for beginning writers going out there and reading and looking at the books that they're reading and taking them apart and trying to see how writers write. But a book on writing, the one by Carolyn Wheat, it's WHEAT, and it's called How to Write Killer Fiction, Mystery and Suspense. And then also Writing and Selling Your Mystery Novel by Hallie Ephron, I think is a terrific
good-
book. It
that's a
covers a bit more.
I want to interrupt
Yep.
just briefly because I want to mention two books by Michael Seidman, which are really good
Sure.
about editing. And that's what they're called, Editing Your Mystery. I don't remember the name of the title of the other one, but Michael Seidman wrote
It's
them
on,
both.
it's on the industry in general.
And they're really very precise about how to edit, how to do your own editing. Not that you shouldn't have another editor, because we all know that you should have, but you can save yourself a lot of money, a lot of time and aggravation if you know what you're doing in terms of editing, maintaining point of view, and all those kinds of things.
I would also, for mystery writers,
Really
crime
quickly.
writers, the How Done It series by Writer's Digest, Scene of the Crime, Police Procedure and Investigation, Cause of Death, Deadly Doses on Poisons. They have
Now
all
what?
those books.
And a lot more. Well, we're done. We're through.
Wow.
Wow.
Went fast, didn't it?
Did.
Thanks to Michael Dimmick. Thanks to you both. That's it for this episode. We've covered a lot of ground, but there's more to be said, and you can find out more about us on our website, www.minnesotacrimewave.org, where you'll find links to previous programs, and you can learn about the books we've written. You can also subscribe to our newsletter. And if you want a list of these books, write to us. Email minnesotacrimewave@yahoo.com. Be sure to mention the title or the number of the program, and this is program number 14. See you next time, and as always, read more mysteries.